Welcome back to the UlnoIoT tutorial. This is the third installation of this tutorial. And in this tutorial, we want to remote control the LED on this Wemos D1 Mini with a button in this Wemos D1 Mini. And so we should have somewhere in our kit something like this button. We can also use a normal button. And you want to wire up the button so that the minus is here in ground. So you can kind of see a little G on there. And that the signal, so the S on here, so you minus an S, so the S points in one of the D ports which is on there. And actually I can just plug it in this way here. So if you see this way, then the button is the one is in ground and the signal ends up actually in D3. So we already flashed this guy here, so we will actually unplug this, and now we need to flash the second node. So and this means we have to go in the Midnight Commander in the second node and type initialize, like just in the first case. While we do that, we will find a possibility to connect this other one just to USB. So let's find a nice USB code. I have an extension here. So, and I will just wire this up to my own computer. And plug this in. So and while this guy is flashing, we can actually let this flash in the background and here go to our node. We can, instead of using Midnight Commander, also do a CD. Going to node 1. And if we type console here, we actually end up on this device. So now we are on that again. So there's another option to actually interact with this LED. And in the menu or in the net, you can actually see that you should look at the help of out or at the help of LED. So if we do this here, then you see there is actually something about an out command or LED command. So this is basically the same. So you can either use LED or out. And you see this example here. This is actually what we want to use. So now the cut and copy makes sense. So you copy this with Control C, and you can insert this with Control V. So if you look at the description up here, there's the different names, but you can also see what you can actually give up there as commands. So with escape, you can go out of the selection or copy mode. So the first thing is you have to give for the device, you have to give the type of device. And we say LED or output or out or switch here in this case. So let's do LED because it's actually about an LED. And as this is kind of the blue LED, let's do blue. And here we take our onboard LED. And so usually you get the command for switching it on and then the command for switching it off. But as this is reverse, we don't do on and off, but we do off and on here. So actually you see now the light is on, it's kind of initialized, and you see we created an output object. And now we wonder, how can we get this object? We could actually assign this to a new object, or we can actually look at all the devices we have already defined. So if you look at device, you see there is an object blue. So we can actually say devices of blue. And if you look at this, this is exactly our output object from before. So we have this devices in blue. And these devices have a command which is called evaluate. And the evaluate takes actually the commands. So if we now send as the command off to it, you should see this goes actually off. So now we are even a step further. We can send off and on and off. So, and If we want to constantly listen to this, there's a command which is actually run, which constantly listens for commands via the networks for this. And it uses a protocol which is called MQTT. So Google about what MQTT is. It's the Internet of Things communication protocol. And the UlnoIoT devices support this out of the box. And you can see it also publishes a status report, so it actually knows, yeah, we are actually switched off, and reports this all the time. So let's see how our other device is actually doing. And with Control-O, we can see if we had mistakes. No mistake. Great. So also here, we should be able with console to just go in there and see it's connecting to the node 2. So now is the question, how can we read the button? So let's take another look at help again and see if there's a command which could work with button. And if we look, oh, there is actually a command which is called button. So let's read about that. And okay, see, button is also called contact or input. So let's do then a button. And then we need to give it a name. Why don't we just say B1 for button 1, which is here connected. And then we have to give the pin. And remember, you actually connected it so that it was in D3. So we take D3. Then we have to say what it reports. And as we want to wire these things together later, we just say when it is, we have to actually try this out. So I think let's try off and on. So and actually I will remember this button. We'll put it here in the local variable B1. See, instead of now showing what it is, if I do B1, it says, oh, we have a contact object here created. B1 has an option value, and it has another option. I have to quickly look this up. And the other option is actually updated value. And there you see it's actually true. And now see what happens if we press the button. It's false. So, and if I release the button, it's true. So just here for proof, I press the button, false, and I release, it's true. Great. So if we actually run here, you see it actually publishes off. And if I press the button now, it publishes on and off again, on, off. So when I press, publishes on, off, when I release. This is exactly what I want. So how do I now network these kind of two with each other? So we have the one running here, the other here. So let's open another window. And if you kind of get a little confused, you can actually now say Control-A-T and give it a name. So this is actually our node 2. And go here and Control-A-T and we say node 1. And then we always see we have on one the node 1, on the other the node 2. And this is our command line now. And now there are a couple of commands, and I mentioned already MQTT. So if you type MQTT here in UlnoIoT on the server and do a couple of tabs, you can see MQTT commands. And there's actually an interesting command which is MQTT all. So let's just start this, and there you see actually what's all going on in terms of communication. You see actually we get something from node 1 and node 2. And if I press the button here now on node 2, you see you get always a report when I press and release this. So now I just need to send the on and off command into the light. And that's all I need. So you can interrupt commands with Control-C, even on the node, but the node should continue running. And there is a slightly complicated command which is MQTT action. And here you can, if you just type this in, you get a little help. And we want to actually listen. So let's roll up. So remember, so it's actually publishing something on node 2 B1. This is a button 1 on node 2. So we want to actually listen on node to B1. And when this is changed, so we use any change, so we can give anything here because it's ignored, then we can execute a command. And first I need to show you what this command is, so let's remember this here. So I will already execute this and it will complain. So, but I can now get to it again. There's another MQTT command, which is MQTT send. And if we look up again, we see the other has actually, the node 1 has a topic blue. And so remember, we want to know how this works. And if you want to look up a command from the command line, you can type uhelp. And so let's check LED there. And see there's the help again. And you see there's actually a set you have to add to the command to talk to it. So if you do an MQTT send to node 1 blue set, and we send on there, we should be able to switch this on. So see, this is off now, and now it's on. Off. Now we are not sending it on the device, but from the gateway to that device. So this is actually the command we have to send something here. So let's find our command from before again, XYZ, that can be anything. And now we want to actually use this here behind Control Z, Control V. So let's now see what happens if I press the button. See, now the light was on. So I press the button, the light goes on. And if I release the button, the light goes off. Light goes on, light goes off. So I basically just build a small connector between the two. And that's all we want to achieve in this tutorial. And we have actually our Hello World Internet of Things system running now. So we have two network devices which can communicate with each other through the gateway. So next time we will do the networking between the devices a little bit smarter. So we'll use actually a system which is called Node-RED. So stay tuned until the next time. I'm looking forward to have some comments, feedback, and issues. I hope I see you around. I'm happy to answer questions. Good luck.